Have you ever looked around and felt like things are intense? Like we're living through a moment that historians will write books about? You're not alone, and you're not wrong. There's a theory that might just explain this feeling, and it suggests that America, and much of the world, is deep in what's called a crisis phase. But what does that mean? And more importantly, are we prepared for what comes next? Today we're diving into the fascinating and sometimes frightening world of generational cycles, specifically the Strauss-Howe theory. Now before we go further, this isn't about predicting the future with a crystal ball. It's about understanding historical patterns to better navigate the present. The theory proposes that history moves in cycles, each lasting about 80 to 100 years, roughly the length of a long human life. Each cycle is made up of 4 distinct turnings, or phases, each about 20 years long. Think of them like the seasons of the year. The first turning is the high. This is an era of post-crisis optimism and conformity. Think of the period right after World War II. Society is confident, institutions are strong, and individualism takes a backseat to the collective good. People generally trust the government, and there's a strong sense of shared purpose. The economy is often booming, and social cohesion is at its peak. It's a time of building and stability. Next comes the awakening. This is when the conformity of the high starts to feel stifling. A new generation comes of age and questions the established norms. Think of the 1960s and 70s. This is a time of spiritual and social upheaval, marked by protests, cultural revolutions, and a focus on personal authenticity and rights. The focus shifts from we to me. It's a passionate, often chaotic period of challenging the old order. The third turning is the unraveling. This follows the awakening and is characterized by cynicism and fragmentation. Institutions are weak and distrusted. The culture wars of the awakening continue, but they lose their spiritual fire and become more about tribalism and division. Think of the 1990s and early 2000s. Individualism runs rampant, civic engagement declines, and society feels like it's coming apart at the seams. It's a time of moral decay and a growing sense that the system is broken. And that brings us to the fourth turning, the crisis. This is the phase we're reportedly in right now. The unraveling has created a society ripe for a major cataclysmic event. A spark, like a financial collapse, a major war, or a pandemic ignites a period of intense peril and transformation. The old order is destroyed and a new one is forged in the fire. During a crisis, the focus swings dramatically back from me to we. Survival depends on collective action. People are forced to set aside their differences and unite against a common threat. It's a time when the stakes are incredibly high, and the choices we make determine the shape of society for the next 80 years. So when did our current crisis phase begin? Proponents of the theory point to the 2008 financial crisis as the starting gun. Since then, we've seen escalating political polarization, social unrest, a global pandemic, and major geopolitical conflicts. It feels like the world is on a knife's edge because, according to this framework, it is. The defining feature of a crisis is a sense of urgency and a recognition that the old ways are no longer working. We are being forced, whether we like it or not, to tear down and rebuild. This is where the question, are we prepared, becomes so vital. Preparedness in a crisis phase isn't just about stocking up on canned goods and water, though that's not a bad idea. It's about mental, social, and civic preparedness. It means understanding that the intense division and conflict we see are not random bugs in the system. They are features of this historical season. It's a time for great danger, but also for great opportunity. During a crisis, heroes are made. Civic virtue, which lay dormant during the unraveling, is reborn out of necessity. People rediscover the importance of community, sacrifice, and shared purpose. Think of the greatest generation that lived through the Great Depression and World War II. They were shaped by that crisis and went on to build the high that followed. They didn't just survive, they built a new world. Our challenge is to do the same. The test of our generation is not whether we can avoid the crisis, it's already here. The test is how we navigate it. Will we succumb to the chaos and division, or will we rise to the occasion? This requires us to look beyond our immediate political tribes and recognize our shared fate. It means strengthening local communities, building resilient systems, and cultivating a sense of civic duty. It also means being prepared for unexpected shocks. The nature of a fourth turning is that things can change very, very quickly. The stability we took for granted during the unraveling is gone. We need to be adaptable, resourceful, and psychologically resilient. This is a marathon, not a sprint. The crisis phase could last until the early 2030s. So, what does the world look like on the other side? If history is any guide, the resolution of this crisis will pave the way for a new high. A new social contract will be forged. The institutions that emerge will command public trust, and a renewed sense of community will define the era. The solutions that we create now to our economic, political, and social problems will become the new status quo for decades to come. This is a heavy concept, I know. It can feel overwhelming to think that we're living through such a pivotal moment. But there's also something empowering about it. We are not just passive observers of history. We are its authors. The actions we take, the values we champion, the communities we build, all of it matters more now than ever before. Understanding these dynamics can help us reframe the daily chaos. Instead of despairing at the state of the world, we can see it as a necessary, albeit painful, stage of renewal. It's a call to action. It's a challenge to be the ancestors our descendants will be proud of. We get to decide what the next American high will look like. Will it be an era of renewed freedom and prosperity, or something else entirely? The choices we make in this decade will provide the answer. So, let's start a conversation. What are you seeing in your own community that gives you hope? How are you preparing, not just for disaster, but for the opportunity to build something better? This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. We are living in historic times. Let's act like it. Thanks for watching. If you found this perspective valuable, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Let's continue to explore these big ideas together. Stay curious, stay engaged, and stay prepared.